I hate it for him. I've dealt with injuries myself. I'm sure many of you've dealt with injuries. But here's the biggest question about all of this. How does this affect Georgia moving forward? And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is where things get not just a little tricky, but a lot of tricky. You can't make this stuff up. Right when I sat down to record my AP poll video, in which, we take a look at the new AP poll, and then I give you my new top 10 for this week, this breaking news came out. But first things first, dude, what is this comment on the recent video? Really love the video, Matt. That's cool. Great comment. Thank you for that. And then at the end of it, do y'all see this? Hashtag Matt be committing war crimes. What? Hold on. What the fudge is this? Loving the content. Hashtag Matt be pimping. Hashtag Matt be having that yacht. Alright, bro. I ain't gonna say nothing about that. Washington student and fan here had about 20 heart attacks during the game and had to take a 3-hour walk around campus afterwards to try to calm down. I relate to that. That's how I am during the games. Love your videos, man. Hashtag Matt be... Alright, dog. What is this hashtag? Can I even say this on YouTube? I don't think I can. I don't think I can say this, guys. Can we find a decent comment? Is that possible in the comment section? Don't know. I'm scrolling through here. All right, this one looks decent. People forget Tennessee and A&M were coming into this game as statistically the best two defenses in the SEC and nation. Tennessee put 2 bills on that D on the ground. Hashtag go Vols. Hashtag Matt be Uncle Rico. Okay, that's a better one. I like that. I can get down with that. Them other comments though, y'all wildin', man. y'all taking it a little too far. And here's the last thing I gotta address. We gotta talk about this Brock Bowers stuff. On Twitter, which we got one of the greatest Twitter communities out there. Shout out to everybody on Twitter. Someone Photoshop... What? I don't even know what this is, yo. I really don't. I'm in the Pooh Shiesty mask. That's me. That's not Photoshop. But I'm in Tennessee gear, posted up next to my Tennessee house. And it's saying Rocky Top. We're not doing this. I'm going to let this be known right now. I swear on everything I love. If we lose, Alabama, if we lose to Tennessee and people start tweeting this picture at me, we're going to have a problem. And this is just in general. This has nothing to do with the picture. And we'll talk about this later down the week. If Alabama loses Tennessee, I'm going to be pissed off. Y'all know I'm a very calm, cool, and collected guy, but there might be some TVs being smashed at the Matt Be Great residence. I can't do it. Another year losing Tennessee, it will make me rage. But that is a different conversation for a different day. We got to talk about what's going on with Brock Bowers and Georgia. And to be honest with all of you, I have no idea what's going on. This is breaking news as of when I'm speaking. I just heard about it. And at the same time, for me at least, it's extremely shocking news because I saw him get hurt in the Georgia game Saturday, but I didn't think it was this bad. I thought he'd be out for a couple weeks, but apparently, hold on, let me pull it up just to be sure here. Okay, yeah, I was right. News came out a couple hours ago that Brock Bowers is going to undergo tightrope surgery on his left ankle. We're going to read a little more on this, but to make a long story short, just off the top of my head, this means Brock Bowers, he's done. Potentially, and this is best case scenario, he can come back for maybe, and it's just a maybe, the SEC championship game. But as far as it goes for a regular season, no, he's done. He won't come back. He can't come back. It's impossible. And even at that, and we'll talk about this in just a second, it might not even be a good idea for him to come back to college football, period, the end. He's a lock to be a top 10 NFL draft pick. In my humble opinion, I think he's a lock to be a top 5 draft pick. He's one of the best players in college football, but let me read some more on this, see what they're saying. Georgia will be without its top offensive weapon at least a few weeks and maybe more. Georgia has announced that tight end Brock Bowers will undergo tightrope surgery on Monday on his left ankle, which is today. A full recovery is expected. The surgery is meant to speed up the healing process from a high ankle sprain. See, that's the thing I didn't know was a high ankle sprain, which is the injury Bowers sustained on Saturday in the Bulldogs' 37-20 win over Vandy. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. I read this article, read some others, and I can't dumb it down any more than that. He's having surgery. First things first, before we go any farther, my prayers and thoughts going to Brock Bowers and his entire family. It sucks. I wish injuries, they weren't a part of the game, but the reality is they are, and I hope he has a great and a fast recovery process. Let's separate the player from the team for just a split second. I know a lot of people, you don't like Georgia, but don't take that out on good old Brock Bowers here. He's a great young man, arguably one of the most talented tight ends to ever play at the college football level. I hate it for him. I've dealt with injuries myself. I'm sure many of you've dealt with injuries. But here's the biggest question about all of this. How does this affect Georgia moving forward? Well, before we talk about that, I guess I need to clarify on this because I know a lot of people aren't too familiar with tightrope surgery on the ankle. For those of you that don't know, this is a 4 to 6 week recovery process. Today is October 16th as when I'm speaking, so let's pull up Georgia's schedule here. You do got to take this into account, though. Number one, Brock Bowers is a superhuman. Number two, he's going to have the best surgeon in the world doing his surgery. And number three, He's going to be at Georgia, so the rehab process is going to be sped up for him compared to your normal Joe at just a random facility. But even with that being said, let's just use a timetable 4 to 6 weeks and let's meet each other in the middle. We'll say it takes him 5 weeks to recover. Well, today is October 16th, and fortunately, Georgia has a bye this week. They play Florida on the 28th. That means for certain he's missing the Florida game. Then they play Mizzou on the 4th. Also, for certain, he's missing that game. The following week, they play Georgia at home. I low-key forgot about that one on the 11th. He'll be missing that one. Play Tennessee right after that, and he'll also miss that one. The Tennessee game is exactly right at 4 weeks out from his surgery. And I would be extremely shocked if they push him to come back within 31, 32 days. Don't think it's going to happen. And last but not least, Georgia Tech on the 25th. That'll be about 5 weeks after surgery. Does it even matter if Brock Bowers comes for the Georgia Tech game? No, because Georgia Tech sucks. Georgia doesn't need him, and I don't see him playing in that one regardless. There's not enough time for him to come back for a Tennessee game. Not enough time. They're not going to push him to do that. Remember, this guy has millions. I'm talking about millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line. There's not a chance in the world that Brock Bowers comes back for that Tennessee game. I'm sorry. I know Tennessee fans are probably kind of happy about that, and if you are happy about that, I just think you're a sick individual. Because guess what? With or without Brock Bowers, it's not going to change too much for Tennessee in that ball game. And we could sit up here all day and debate whether or not he's going to come back for the Tennessee or Georgia Tech game, but like I said, bottom line is he's a done for the regular season. They're not going to push a guy at his caliber to come back that early. So, with all that being said, you know where I'm going with this. When is the fastest possible time for him to come back? You know where I'm going. The SEC championship game against Alabama. And I already know everybody's running to the comment section. Well, Matt, you don't know if Alabama's going to be in the SEC championship game just quite yet. And you're right, I don't know that, but there's about a 98% chance that does happen. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is where things get not just a little tricky, but a lot of tricky. He will be cleared to play in this Alabama game if everything goes according to plan, which it probably will. But, and I have a big but, why risk it? It just depends on the player, it really does. For some players, they come from terrible situations where their mom, dad, and their family, or even just them, they need/want money. And the smart decision in this case and scenario is to sit out the remainder of the season and get ready for the NFL draft. That's a smart decision. And I want to make this clear. I've said this time after time after time on the channel. If players sit out a bowl game or the end of the regular season to get ready for the NFL draft because they're going to be a first, second, or third round pick, I'm all for it. You know why I'm all for it? Because you got to do what you got to do. It's a business decision, not a personal decision. It's really easy for Bob on the couch eating his Cheeto Puffs going, oh yeah, I can't believe Leonard Fournette didn't play in the bowl game. Huh, no heart. These players don't know what it takes, man. They don't got no heart. They don't want to represent the university. But shut up, man. There's a reason you're eating Cheeto Puffs on the couch, and there's a reason Leonard Fournette was drafted in the first or second round. I can't remember where he got drafted, but it was somewhere in there. It's easy for you to make the decision and say, oh, I would have played in the game. I loved the game. I gave the game everything I got. Well, of course you gave the game everything you got. You was a second stringer on JV. 99% of the people that comment on stuff like that don't even know what it's like to play in college. I could rant on that subject for 15 minutes. I don't want to do it. You get my point. I think it's just a business decision. And some people say, oh, well, that player's being selfish. He's not showing up for his team. I actually think it's the other way around. I think it's selfish of you to expect him to play. Anyways, getting a move on here. That's what it's going to come down to for Brock Bowers. Does he want to protect his top 10 selection status and sit out the rest of the season? Sit out the playoff because Georgia will make it to the playoff? Does he want to protect that, or does he want to go out there and play with his boys? To me, at least, there's no wrong answer. I see it from both sides. And I don't know Kirby Smart personally, but from everything I've heard, I've been keeping up with him ever since he was a defensive coordinator at Alabama. He's a pretty great guy. And the last thing I think Kirby Smart is going to do is he is going to try to persuade Brock Bowers to come back. This is simply going to be a decision with Brock Bowers and Brock Bowers only. And I actually believe I'm leaning more to the side that Kirby Smart would convince him not to play, to look out for his future. I think that's the type of coach and type of person that Kirby Smart is. I mean, guys, there's a reason Georgia announced to the public, as you see from Brett McMurphy right here, that Brock Bowers will likely miss the rest of the season. They're not going to push this kid to come back. He's already done so much for his team and university. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. But for me, there's two sides of it. The selfish version of me is sitting here going, man, I hope he comes back. I still want to see him play college football because he's a heck of a talent. That is only if he's healthy and cleared to play. But the part of me that's looking out for Brock Bowers as an NFL tight end, I don't want him to come back. He's already proven himself. He's done enough. I've torn not one, but both my ACLs. And I'm going to tell you straight up, injuries are nothing to mess around with. At this point in time, this is a very minor injury, but if you don't rehab correctly and you come back too early, it could get to major. I hope that don't happen, but I'm just throwing out some possibilities and the negative side of coming back. It's going to be interesting for sure, but most definitely, yeah, he's out for the regular season. Maybe he comes back and he'll play against Bama. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts down below, but